Consulting trains you to think in a certain way, which is very, very valuable. It's just, you're just able to sort of analyze problems, break them up. What you do for your consulting interviews, how you prepare, just break up problems very quickly and then come up with an answer. So it gives you that framework, it trains your mind to think in a certain way. If you start in marketing, I'm saying for my personal thing, you start as sales, right? You see the realities, कि कैसे बेचना है. Sales is and as everybody knows, it's the most important skill any sort of working person can have, right?
Which speaker number is saying this? Just keep that note.
I mean, it's true though, right? So I get a lot of happiness from that, right? I get a lot of happiness when we do deals to companies that are, moving the needle and helping the world or India in some way or the other. And I get a lot of happiness when I help other startups and, and sort of use my mistakes and my learnings over the last now 6 years, 7 years. But like a lot of us do, we kind of we tell ourselves these stories that I can't give up, I can't quit. And, I told myself all these stories that, I have my MBA loan to pay off, and I can't give up, I can't quit. I don't know if this is the same at IIM and the Indian schools, but they don't disclose your marks to your employers. So, when you go and give an exam, as long as you're passing, you don't give a shit.
Of course, you spoke about this last bit around the feature not being a business.
Yeah.
But what are, say, if someone were to ask you 3 mistakes that you made in your career / entrepreneurship journey that you would suggest that others don't?
I think my partner and I were in a very, very good position in Better Butter. It was 2015, and the startup ecosystem was just taking off. We could have built anything. And what we didn't do at the time is that we didn't put strong sort of short-term KPIs for us and really ask ourselves the hard question that is it working? What happens is like a part of your business is working very well, but there is a small part that's not really working, it's not really exploding, but you can keep telling yourself, but this part is working so well. I feel like if we'd identified that at the right time, we would have pivoted. We didn't pivot ultimately because we'd already built something of value. So we didn't want to destroy that value. We wanted to extract some value out of it for ourselves and for our investors, which is why we decided to sell it. But I just think that because of our timing, because of the fact we had money in the bank, we'd raised capital, we could have pivoted and built something very big, which we didn't do. My regret with Lilo is that I just got, and somebody told me this very recently, I got very seduced by the idea. And in B2C, that's a risk that it's just, even for somebody like me who'd already built 2 startups and had made mistakes, I was like, oh my God, how awesome will it be? Getting a catalog every month. And I spoke to a bunch of people and they're like, it's an amazing idea. And I just got so seduced by the sexiness of it that I went ahead and built it. Maybe something comes out of it, right? Like the B2B play, I don't know. But again, I could have maybe taken 6 months, evaluated a bunch of other ideas, and then taken an informed decision. And maybe I may still have decided to go ahead with this, I don't know. But I did it very, very quickly. I left Zopnik and I started this immediately. So, yeah.
They say you cannot connect the dots looking
back, yeah.
Yeah, whatever, forward. You have to look at it backwards, etc. So let's connect the dots. And what is it that you did during your economics days and the IMF days that you think has helped you later on in life? Did you see any connection with that part playing out?
No. I think the connection started with when I was in marketing at Philips. That's what led to the rest of my life. Because now I know that I don't know what will happen, right? Maybe, hopefully I'm going to be a VC for many years to come. And I have, just in case somebody's listening. But the common theme in the last 7 years for me has been tech and startup ecosystem. And the one thing I'm grateful for is that it's put me in this is a good place to be in, right? I mean, for people who are just starting out their careers, You can start with your startup. You can build a startup in college, and you can start there. But if I'd done, say, something else, like say I was a consultant or something, it's very difficult then to make a switch, because you don't know how startups work, you don't know how founders work, you don't know anything about tech, you don't know anything. So I think because of that theme, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I stuck to this theme. And I think it's a great place to be at, as I think everyone agrees with, right?
Some questions around, because you ran like a couple of startups, how did you go about hiring people? Did you have any hiring playbook, or were there one or two things that you said, okay, if this person displays this, I'll definitely hire this person? Or was it something that you outsourced to somebody else in the team?
We outsourced the tech, right? Everyone out here because, but no, there was no hiring playbook as such. It's just a gut feel. I think we just did the basics. I think one thing that we did wrong in our earlier startup, which again, I don't know how many people here have a first startup or thinking of their first startup, is that it's, in your first startup, it's very difficult to let people go. It's very, very difficult. And I think me and my partner, there were people we should have let go much earlier. We didn't because we couldn't. We just didn't have the courage. So we stayed with a bad situation till it became worse. And then it just became an ugly situation. And we did this a few times because we just felt like, this person joined us when we just started and they were loyal and they did so much for us, and now we can't leave them. I think everyone kind of can relate to this, right? It's a very common feeling.
Then there is this thing that a lot of people speak about is networking. How has your network helped you? Because you've been to some pretty haloed institutions and also worked in some large companies. How does that play out in your day-to-day life or your career decisions?
So, I never became good at networking, and I'll talk a little bit about that till my 30s, till I joined, till I started Better Butter. And because, and I think in my 20s, I didn't really know what networking is, it's just, also, the thing with networking is it's very tricky, right? Like, till you can offer something to somebody, they don't really give a shit, right? Like, why would, like, you can try your best to network with somebody, but if they don't really care to network with you, then there's only so much you can do, yeah. Like, but what I realized is, is that networking is nothing but building authentic, real relationships with people who are coming up with you, right? And not because you kind of want something from them. Like, yes, of course, you think they're smart and you think that they're going places, and hopefully that person thinks the same about you and is willing to invest their time in you. But somewhere it has to come from a place of authenticity. You have to feel like if you invite that person for a coffee or a drink, there has to be common interest to talk about. There has to be a little bit more than just wanting something from them, at least initially, right? So I think that, and once, if you spend time in an industry for a few years, then it also becomes easier because you meet people. And
we have tried to simplify and build a space where people can potentially connect and build these authentic relationships at Club Altuni. So please do have a look at Club Altuni and sign up for it. What are the few sectors that excite you going forward? Now that you're a VC, so now you need to look at the what are the cool things that other entrepreneurs are building? I'm sure you're already getting like pitches over the last 1 month that you're doing this. And are there any specific industries, sectors, businesses that excite you a lot?
All sectors are exciting. So it's very difficult to say, right? Like, I can't say edtech is more exciting than health tech is more exciting than fintech. It's just difficult to say, but I'll talk about the businesses that I love personally. I'm really envious of businesses, because I think that's always what I want to do myself, that are able to sort of impact lives of, hundreds of thousands of people at least, if not millions, in a positive way. Like before we had, I think, the founder of City Mall, right? So, and it's, and there's no one formula, right? You could be doing upskilling, you could be doing upskilling at tech, you could be doing something in the environment, in EV, for instance. But yeah, I'm just, so I think...
You had that chance, Sukmani. You could have just given a loan to a country from IMF, and bailed them out. Abhi Sri Lanka mang raha hai, Pakistan mang raha hai. You had a chance to impact people.
No, but now I feel like, I think, I make myself feel happy telling myself that, as a VC, the fun part of it for me, I mean, I think different things interest different people. But the fun part for me is that, that feeling is there that I couldn't do it, so that regret is there. But yeah, hopefully one day. But anyway, but at least I feel like, so my role I work at Orias is both investment and portfolio management, which means that we evaluate investments, but I also support our portfolio. So I get a lot of happiness from that. Right? I get a lot of happiness when we do deals to companies that are, moving the needle and helping the world or India in some way or the other. And I get a lot of happiness when I help other startups and, and sort of use my mistakes and my learnings over the last now 6 years, 7 years. So, yeah.
One question on entrepreneurship. Did you at any point of time feel it was harder because of your gender? Or do you think that in India, people get equal opportunities irrespective of your gender?
I never felt like it was harder because of my gender. I didn't feel like fun. Okay, so some things are harder because of your gender in general, right? Like what's harder
because
because
existence is in a country
like ours. Yeah, right? Like people take you less seriously, general people. What I didn't think was harder is that, interacting with professionals, right? Like VCs, while fundraising, all of that wasn't harder. Across funds, right? Like from the seed guys to the big series A, B, like tier 1 guys, everyone's really professional. And I feel like they only sort of look at the merit of the business and not your gender at all, which is why now so many businesses are women founded.
No, it's just about the fact that one is that, there are funds that want to specifically only promote entrepreneurship amongst women. But I was saying more in terms of, the area that you pointed out, that people take you less seriously or...
But that, that is true in, if every woman will feel that in every industry in India. So if you go for a meeting, say a government meeting, or if you go, even like some, a vendor, for instance, they somehow... Unless, they don't take you seriously, basically, right? If a man is talking, I'm looking at the one girl I can see. If a man is talking, they're likely to take the man more seriously than when a woman is talking. And when you say that, mera business hai, versus when a man says mera startup hai, the person on the other side, obviously depending on who it is, but I'm saying typically, women का business है तो सोचेगा कोई छोटा मोटा होएगा, एंड मैन का बिजनेस सेल भी लाइक अच्छा कोई टेक्नोलॉजी में बिजनेस कर रहे हैं पता नहीं क्या कर रहे होंगे सो उतना तो है बट वो हर इंडस्ट्री में इन इंडिया वो तो है ही सो इट्स हार्ड ऑफ कोर्स इट्स हार्ड
ऑल योर बिजनेसेस वर बेस्ड आउट ऑफ दिल्ली गुड़गांव
या no but my partner in my last business is from Hyderabad.
So you never thought of shifting to Bangalore because it's supposed to be the startup capital of India? Oh my God,
so when I was looking for a job I spoke to and lots of amazing opportunities which I couldn't get because I wasn't in Bangalore. And they were like, what are you doing? Bangalore is the startup capital. Everything's happening here. But no, because of course, work is very important and my career is very important to me. But other things are also important. My whole family is here. Because I'm from Delhi, my entire, all my friends are here. So I don't want to just leave and start from scratch because... और यहाँ भी बहुत startups है, ऐसा नहीं है. So it's a close second. वहाँ ज़्यादा है, but it's a close second.
No, actually, in terms of number of startups, actually NCR is ahead.
Really?
Yeah. There are more startups based out of NCR than Bangalore. It's just that I think the value of startups in Bangalore right now is slightly ahead. And that also is, like you said, a close second. Yeah. I think it's time to open up the floor for questions because I can go on, but I think...
Hi, I'm Shaurya. And I really admire your energy. It's almost like an excited over 21-year-old who wants to do so many things in life and is excited by so many things. But what are you looking forward to in future? What are more things that you're looking forward to and that might excite you more? And my second part of the question is, like you said, that when you were about to do your masters, for your parents it was almost like a tick mark. There's going to be a masters too. How do they feel about you now that you've done so much more?
So I think my parents always expected a lot out of me. So I don't, so I think the expectations are still very high. I think it was just a thinking, कि पढ़ाई करनी है, at that time, I don't know if it's true now for today's parents, at that time parents thought कि you must finish your education. This was a big thought process at that time, But coming to the other thing, the thing that you asked, so I've just, I'm a month old in my job, but I'm enjoying it so far. and I really do hope to complete, a cycle of a fund. So I do hope to be here for at least 5 to 7 years, minimum 7 years, 7 to 10 years, I'd say. But, there's always, I don't know what changes. The other thing is that, I was obsessed with consulting, then I was obsessed with marketing, then I was obsessed with building my startup. I don't know what I'm going to be obsessed with in the next 5 years. So everything changes. You change so much that the best thing that you can do for yourself is don't take yourself that seriously. You will change. What you want will change. But, at least right now, that thing is there in my heart that, I wanted to build, And so I just hope today I feel like I hope maybe later I get an opportunity to build again. But I'm not sure I'll feel that in 5 years from now. It could change.
You just mentioned, I don't know what's the thing about today's parents, but you're also a parent now.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do you have expectations of your daughter already?
No, not at all. Not these type of expectations. कि बेटा engineering करनी है और top करना है. I just want her to do what she wants to do. Have fun, kind of realize what you enjoy doing. Like you realize in life that ultimately, whatever, right? Like the point is to be happy and have fun. So I'm not going to put not that my parents put pressure on me, but I'm not going to put any pressure on her for studies or anything. I'll just be like, you do what you enjoy doing, don't fail. I mean, pass, but that's it.
Hi, so my name is Rajni and I'm going to be starting my MBA in a couple of months. So my question is, you've had your experience in consulting and marketing both, and I want to know which experiences helped you better in your entrepreneurial journey?
It's a very good question, and honestly equal, because consulting trains you to think in a certain way, which is very, very valuable. It's just, you're just able to sort of analyze problems, break them up. What you do for your consulting interviews, how you prepare, just break up problems very quickly and then come up with an answer. So it gives you that framework, it trains your mind to think in a certain way, but I don't think it takes more than 1 or 2 years, honestly. Why a marketing job is good is that, okay, I'd say my bias is a little towards a marketing job. Because if you start in marketing, I'm saying for my personal thing, you start as sales, right? You see the realities, कि कैसे बेचना है. Sales is and as everybody knows, it's the most important skill any sort of working person can have, right?
Which speaker number is saying this? Just keep that note.
I mean, it's true though, right? So in a marketing job, पहले तो तुम sales में start करोगे. It's less money, less glamorous compared to consulting, but the skills are harder and I think they're more valuable. Then ultimately you start owning a small P&L. Those are also really valuable skills. So though both are good, between consulting and marketing, I'll say marketing.
Hi, my name is Rishika. So basically, I kind of wanted to ask a question about hiring, and just to keep it short, what are some of the things a VC would like to see in someone's CV?
Start early, right? Because in VCs it's very difficult and you're all young, so makes sense. Lateral hiring is harder, right? Unless of course you have a startup experience. So one way to get into VC is being an ex-founder, But if you're a smart person who's just graduated from college, then it's fair game, right? You're applying like everybody else is applying. You're going to be evaluated on what everyone else evaluates you on, what college you went to, your marks, your interview, all of that. If you get into a top tier consulting firm, and you're still a younger candidate, again, that's a very good way into VC, right? So 2 or 3 years in a good consulting firm, and then you apply to VC. That's also like a lot of people end up doing that too. But yeah, if you're interested in the space, then apply early. Start already seeing kaisa application process hai. Start speaking to the HR people, what you need to add. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Radha. So as you told us that you have done masters in economics as well as abroad, so I would like to ask which one was a better experience for you, and what will you suggest someone who's looking to pursue masters?
So the question is abroad versus India?
Yeah, exactly. The difference in the experience, what is a better option?
You know what? Honestly, I wouldn't waste my money doing a master's abroad unless you have the money to really spare. It's just expensive. And it's not like you get any benefit out of it because it's abroad, right? So, okay, in my case it was a little different because also Cambridge. But if I hadn't gone into Cambridge and say I'd done it anywhere else, right, like a Sussex or a University College of London or like a good college, compared to an Indian institute, there's no difference in the eyes of an employer. So it really depends on. At the time when I went for my masters, my parents could afford it, so they paid for everything. But if you have to repay your loans and all of that, then I would say that it doesn't matter. And since it doesn't matter, and India is so much cheaper, then you may as well do it in India.
Awesome. It was an absolute pleasure hosting you, Sukhmani. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. I try to be as authentic. So.
Yeah. You were absolutely authentic. There's no doubt about that. And I agree with her that I think the energy it's very infectious. So thank you so much for bringing that to us as well. A big round of applause for Sukhmani.